This farm was started in 1958. 1958 by my great uncle when he graduated Cornell and brought the first 6 head of Black Angus beef cattle to the farm. My grandfather followed him in 1964 and joined the farm then. And we've been farming Black Angus registered cattle ever since. Today we have about 140 brood cows on the farm. So it means that's 140 cows that will produce a calf every year. And we have about 350 head total on the farm. Our main markets for our cattle is we sell 100 animals a year through freezer trade, which is selling a half or a quarter direct to your family. So if you're in our area, you could look us up and we could sell you a half of cow that's custom cut to you directly, and you put it in your freezer and you eat it. And then we also sell about 20 registered bulls a year to the seed stock market. And then we also sell a couple heifers in there as well. So we have about 350 head total on the farm right now. And so that's a little bit on the cattle. And we're going to head right off into feed. So right now, the cows are kind of out on the dry lot. This is a busy time for us right now. In the pen that we are in, they've been breeding cows this morning and yesterday. So the pen's a little riled up and always moving around. So we got a couple cows here behind us here. So what this is called an ag bag. As you can see here, this is chopped up grass, which I'll show you here. Chopped up grass, which we made last summer in July. I chopped this and we put it in a bag. It has some moisture in it, so it ferments and creates a nice sweet feed for them. And this is not the highest quality stuff, but this bag is designed for brood cows who don't need a lot of nutrition. And this is just to help them maintain their body weight and grow their calf at the last stages, because this is our pre-calving lot. So they will only be in here until they calve, and then once they calve, they'll be out until they come back to get bred, which is happening right now. So this is all chopped up grass, like your kind of lawn clipping size. We pack it really densely and tightly into this bag where it can't have any oxygen, and it ferments and creates this feed that we feed the cattle. All of our we do not produce any corn silage on our farm. We only produce haylage, so that's all chopped up grass. We farm about 700 or 600 acres of grass a year. We do about we'll do 2 or 4 cuttings on some of it, 2 cuttings on some, and 1 cutting on some. It's a little bit of a mix, but we started doing hay last week, and we won't finish doing hay till roughly the first week of September. And every clear spell we have, we'll probably be in the field doing some hay. So we just got off a 10-day clear spell. We made about 6,000 small square bales last week and 100 wet round bales, which are similar to this feed here, just in a round bale instead of in a bag. And we're going to start to make bags this weekend.
So we see some beautiful black cows behind you. Can you tell us what breed these are?
So these are registered Black Angus. So we have been registered Black Angus since the first cows that came to the farm, and we'll probably be that way until the last cows leave the farm. We are true believers in the Angus breed. We really have bred a lot for carcass quality in our herd. And we do believe the marbling and the carcass quality from Angus cattle is superior on our farm. Some will tell you Angus are a little wild. I will tell you they're a little bit more on the skittish side, but they're really not too bad. You can have them come right up to you. They're eating some grain I dumped on the silage, so I keep them in here. So we had some for the video right here, but they're all in this pen. So speaking about grain there, if that answers your question on the cattle. So cattle, our cattle are different in some, or our cattle are going to nurse. So calves are born, they nurse mom till they're 7 months old. So that means they're drinking mom's milk till they're 7 months old. And then we wean them away from mom. They go onto an ag bag just like this, just at a different location on the farm. And then they get 3 pounds of this grain per head per day. When looking at this grain, it's a lot of corn. As you can see, there's a lot of corn chunks in here. This is called crushed corn or rolled corn. Then we have a protein pellet, and then we have a little bit of ground soybean and a little bit of ground corn in there. So that's the grain they eat. It's like candy to them. It's like they have to eat their haylage before they can get their dessert in a lot of ways, which is kind of nice. We feed mainly forages. And then after they're done growing a little bit and they reach about 1,000 pounds or 800 pounds, they go into the feedlot, as we call it. How are you? So we got some friendly ones right here too. And they're on there for 90 days. They get free choice grain all they want, and they also have free choice hay at all times as well. And that's what creates their diet, and that's what makes them allows them to gain weight and everything like that. So
many of our students might not know the term forage. Can you just kind of describe what forage is?
So Forage is a little bit higher in fiber diet. So forage would be your grass, would be your corn, as a silage form. It's yeah, sorry, it's a little hard for me to describe it, but it's your chopped up grasses. It's more of a high fiber that helps them. Cows are ruminant animals, right? So they have 4 stomachs instead of 1, just like us. So they can digest this grass really nicely and ferment it, and the rumen breaks it down and makes it into energy. So they have to have high fiber, and the rumen breaks down the fiber. So a forage is a high fiber food for cows. So that's the best way I can put it. So
and you mentioned weaning your calves at about 7 months, and that's different than dairy, correct? I think in dairy they want to wean sooner.
2 months, 2-3 months. So yes, our cows are out in pasture with their calves all the way up until about, we try and aim for 180 days to 200 days on mom, and before we wean them. They get free choice grain once they're old enough, after 30 days of age in a creep, it's called, where mom can't go in and eat the grain, but the calves can, and when they're out in pasture, which helps them gain some weight and get used to eating grain. So when they get to the next stage of life, they're already used to eating grain. So any other questions I can answer?
No, not at all.
Okay. So feed's very important, right? So you want to make sure you have all your crucial important parts to your diet, but what can easily get overlooked is this. These are your vitamins and minerals, technically. So this is salt. We're very low in selenium in our ground, so we have to supplement with some selenium. We got salt, selenium, manganese, and a couple other, all your macronutrients that are like in your vitamins that you take when you were a little kid, kind of stuff. This is the cow's vitamins. They get to have this anytime they want. It's free choice. I'll give them to them since the first day they're born. Not the first day, but like within a week or two, they have free option to free choice minerals, and they have it all the way up until they're 10 years old, or as a cow on the farm, or when they're right before they go to slaughter. So that's what minerals are. Minerals and feed are very important. Having high quality feed. You cannot achieve very good growth and very good consistent quality product, or like end steaks and stuff like that, without good quality feed. So
we have 100, and there was, how many boxes of gloves did we order?
So we also have, it looks like the cattle behind you are getting excited about those buckets. So like you said, it must be a big treat for them.
They definitely, some of these are up here, we're old show cows. And if they know, once a few cows in the herd know what a bucket is, it doesn't matter. You can walk in with an empty bucket. You're still going to have a group of cows around you. They just know what's supposed to be in it. So that's why they're kind of underneath the fence a little bit. So I don't have to, I was moving a group of cows yesterday. I had one that literally stuck its whole head in the bucket and I couldn't get it out. So
they're definitely social.
Definitely, we have social cows around here. They came right up to us to say hi. So that's really nice. So if we're good with forage, I can answer a couple of questions, but we're going to move on to our next stage. We're going to walk across the pasture. So as we're walking, I'll gladly answer any questions, but we're going to move on to water. So
awesome. So as we're going across the pasture, we're looking at some of these black Angus. Are there other type of Angus cows or beef cows?
Yes. So there's many different breeds of beef cattle. And beef cattle, the big ones in the U.S. are Hereford or Angus, then Hereford, Simmentals, Charolais, Wagyus is another one. Another one would be Brahman. These are all different herds. There is Red Angus, has a darker redder color hue to it than obviously our Black Angus as well. So yes, we have chosen Black Angus because that's what we started off with, and we were very happy with that decision.
And so many of our students would, I'm sure, want to know, you grew up on the farm, do you still love farming beef cattle? I
do. I've enjoyed it. I've been on this farm my entire life. I grew up here. I was raised here, and I hope to come back here after college. I'm a junior in college, right? Or I'm a rising senior because I just finished school yesterday, or 2 days ago.
Congratulations.
So I'm a rising senior. So I'm hoping to come back to the farm after graduation at some point, maybe go off, do another adventure for a little while, and then maybe come back. But definitely like to come back to the farm here. I've loved it. I would always race up Saturday morning instead of going to go watch cartoons. Is go find dad or grandpa and go spend all day with them out in the tractor, or out working with the cattle. I have very fond memories of being a really little kid around calves and being moving cows around and stuff like that. And we'd always been with Dad and Grandpa, which was always really fun. So
Awesome. Sounds like a great time growing up and a bright future. So we talked about forage, and just like us, water and hydration is very important. So can you tell us what we're looking at?
So right here is it's a high quality fresh water that we have coming into our cows. Our cows have not been in a creek since the 50s or 60s on our farm. We've always been a fan of, there's a spring up on top of this hill. The water flows down gravity. There's a big cistern up there that catches the water and it pushes it down through gravity down the hill. We have 1.5 miles or so, maybe even 2 miles of pipe underground. The water comes in here, and in the winter, we do not, it's not floated. So there's a float on here to maintain the correct level of water in here at all times. But in winter, when it freezes up, we'll let the water run over, and the whole thing will stay open because groundwater is at 55 degrees. So it'll keep the water open, but we overflow it out. But the key to our overflow out system is that it does not overflow into the pasture with the cows. It overflows outside of the pasture into a ditch where it can be caught for sediment, and we're not dumping water in with the cows because that's not good for the cows for foot health issues. And also it's not good for the environment because that's where it can pick up more phosphorus and run off with more phosphorus. So all of our waters are all in troughs. We have 0 cows in streams or ponds or anything like that. Even if we do water out of a pond, it's from a pipe out of the pond to a watering trough anyway. So we keep fresh, clean waters good. They can drink about 30 gallons a day if they're a brood cow. So a cow that had a calf, they can drink 30 gallons a day. So that's a lot of water. So water's a major issue, and without good, fresh, clean water, they won't eat as much feed. If they don't eat as much feed and they don't drink as much water, they can't grow. They can't produce beef. So
we have a great question from Mrs. Stoll's class along those lines, and they want to know, you just mentioned they drink about 30 gallons of water a day. Is there a difference between the amount of water they drink in the winter compared to the summer?
I think it's down a little bit colder, but in the summer they're going to use it to cool off a little bit more. So I think water consumption right now is a little up. So, but yeah, I think there's a little bit of a difference. It decreases a little bit, but not a crazy amount, I'd say. So they still drink a lot of water all year round. So,
and you talked about the importance of water, and we mentioned in the opening when we introduced you how close you are to New York City, and you talked about how you try to prevent things going into the water. Can you talk about maybe the watershed in your area, and is that something that you're concerned about?
For sure. So our farm is 100 miles north of New York City, and our farm is 24 hours flow rate from a terminal New York City reservoir. So that means that 53% of New York City's water flows through our town, and 53% of the water is held in this, or goes through this one reservoir, which is 24 hours flow rate from the farm. So we're part of the Watershed Agricultural Council of Farms. We maintain best management practices to reduce runoff phosphorus in the water to keep the water clean, healthy, and easily able to be drank by 9 million people down 100 miles away from here. So this water gets piped down, and it's some of the cleanest non-filtered water. They don't have to filter as near as much as other water systems in the world. So that's a big crucial element.
And that's awesome, especially while we're thinking about our ecosystems and preservation, that our agriculturalists are thinking of not just providing grade A protein, but also fresh water for 9 million people. That's pretty incredible.
No, environmentalism in farming is very, very closely knit. Because without the environment, you can't farm. The cattle can't be here if we don't keep the environment clean and healthy for them. It's not good for the water for New York City. It's not good for us. As even us living on the farm, it's not good for us to have a bad environment. So us trying to do everything we can to keep the water clean, the environment clean, and everything as best as we possibly can, and as environmental friendly as we can, is really our number one concern in a lot of ways. So.
Well, awesome. As we move on, I have a great question.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next thing. Yep, you're right.
What is the lifespan of an Angus?
Going this way. Oh man. Can you just repeat that one? Sorry.
What is the lifespan of an Angus cow?
So we have some cows here that are on this farm that are 12 years old, at least, and still producing calves. I showed a cow who was 11 years old at State Fair, and she came in second of all State Fair at 11 years old. So that's pretty impressive. And we have very long lifespan cows here at our farm. We try to take care of them the best we can for as long as we can. That's our number one goal. So. Any other questions while we're walking here?
So we are going around, it looks like a corral.
Yep, we're gonna go worry up on the raised deck here in a second. We had a couple cows moving around because I know most of the students in the classroom have a ear tag, don't they?
We're
gonna put an ear tag in a calf here in a little bit. So mom's on the other side of the fence, so we're just gonna show the handling facility here quick, and then we'll put the ear tag in. And so, all right, so here when we get to the corral here, this corral is an Australian design. Everything is circular. If you know anything about Temple Grandin, who if you don't know anything about, really, I encourage you to read and look it up. It's an amazing story. She's autistic and really could like understand animals. So her biggest thing is everything had to be on a curve. Cattle like to move in curves and in packs. So our chute is set up here. We got many pens. We got pen here, pen there, pen there, pen everywhere. So we have lots of pens to put them in, but every pen there's no square pen. They're all round. And our chute here, which we're on a raised platform, so the cattle are actually down below when we run them through. It makes it easy to give a vaccine, makes it easy to do anything else. And so we do that this way. It's safer for the cattle, safer for us. We choose a wood board corral over an all metal corral because the wood boards do not creak and clang as much as a metal corral does. We do have a metal corral at a loadout at our loadout chute on the other end of the farm. But also in this handling facility is our calving pen. So we did have a calf this morning. That's the one we're going to tag. It's waiting for us on the other side over there for a little bit. But this is our maternity pen, where if a calf is born, and unlike this one got up and was ready to nurse and nursed immediately, which is good because that means it's getting its energy. Calves are not born with immune systems, strong immune systems, so they have to get that from their first milk from mom. So we have this pen here. If the calf does not get milk from mom, it will we'll put it in here. It can restrain the cow, and we can open up the bottom and make sure the calf nurses and gets its milk. And within 4 hours of it being born is the crucial number. So we work hard to do that. Everything here at our farm is designed for safety for humans, for us working the cattle because we don't want to get hurt. And we also just as important as us is making sure the cattle are ran through safely and effectively and efficiently. So any other questions? Right here, we can make a lot of different changes at this chute. So after this blue gate, this stops the beginning of the chute. We can swing this gate around. We could send them to the scale. We can send them to the head gate. We can send them out to load on a truck. All from this one gate here. We can make a couple decisions of a couple gates. It's efficiency for us. We as beef farmers run our cattle through the scale a decent amount. We like to weigh when they're born. So we're going to weigh the one we have to weigh right now, and then we're going to get it done. And then we also weigh when they wean. That we weigh when they're a yearling, and then we weigh every 3 weeks once they go in the feedlot to monitor growth and monitor inputs and stuff like that. So the scale is very important to our operation and other things like that. So that's why we focus heavily on all this stuff. And we focus on keeping everything organized up here to be able to have everything you need when you need it. So up here, if we have, I can stop for a second for questions before we get into some tagging and technology and stuff like that I'm going to talk about quick.
Well, it looks like the runs are pretty tight, and I think that's probably safer for the cows and the handlers.
Safer for the cattle and
from hardening on you.
Temple Grandin designed them and wanted them done was a little bit tighter. It's designed for one cow at a time, and then we're good to go in that aspect. And it helps them stay calm when being moved through the chute. Again, it's a circular design. We'll catch them in the head gate if we have to give them a shot or something like that. And it's all in good faith for the cows. I mean, we don't like to do stuff that we don't need to do, and we like to let the cows be cows out in pasture as much as possible. But we do try to help make sure that they can have the best life possible. So,
well, awesome! It looks like you have some quite a few tools there on the table.
Yep. So some stuff we have lined up here. So something that's really cool and a fun fact: if I put this on a cow's tail right before it's going to calve, it's called a moo call. It will actually call me and let me know, or it will call my dad and our farm manager, saying that it will that it's going to calve or high cow activity for half an hour or for an hour. And it tells you so at middle of the night, we have a high value embryo calf, which is an embryo transplant, which is we flush a cow at 7 days old and you breed it to an AI, you breed it then and then flush it at 7 days. And then you can freeze that embryo and you can actually implant it into another cow at 7 days pregnant as well. all through an extensive protocol. But you can bring cattle in from different parts of the country. So a cow in Georgia can get bred from a cow in Montana, and they can somehow end up at Thunderview Farms in Grahamsville, New York, all without ever a cow moving, which is really kind of interesting technology with AI and ET. We do a lot of that. So when we have an ET or a high AI calf that we really want to make sure everything's okay, and looks like she's going to calve that night, we'll put this on, and it'll wake us up in the middle of the night if there's a problem, which is really kind of cool. So that's one thing. The other big thing we have is we have some cameras around here. So we just got internet hooked up here. So we're going to be able to have not live stream cameras, but we're going to be able to, for us to look at the calves at night during calving, which is for us, we calve twice a year. We calve in March and April, and September and October. So when we calve, we like to bring the cows in here, be able to watch them. And if we, especially on those high value ET and AI calves, we'd like to make sure we get them out alive and make sure that we can monitor them closely. So the cameras and the moo call are really two big things to help with that.
And calving's just when you breed your cows?
Calving is, yeah, we sync them all up. For example, the ones that were bred today are going to be calving in the last week of February, first week of March. So range.
And it looks like, just looking around, if you're not interested in necessarily being a beef farmer, it looks like there's quite a bit of other jobs that are involved on a beef farm. Engineering, the technologies you just had, computers, shipping, a lot of science involved. So there are quite a few careers, I think, that you just shared with us.
For sure. There's a lot of opportunities even to be a part of an industry like agriculture, and even the beef industry not being ever touching a farm, really. And you can have a massive impact in that too. Like the people who created the move call had a massive impact on our farm. I'll tell you that. That saved a couple of calves' lives easily for us, which is really nice to know and think about. So, all right. So on to the fun stuff. We already did that. Oh, sorry. My grandfather's on the other end of is helping me out today. He's my partner to help me. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get into. So you guys have an ear tag, is what I was told. So right here we had 523. Who was the mom of this baby, who's right there, right behind, right with Grandpa. And we're going to go tag it and put an ear tag in its ear. 523 is the mom's number. So that's the way we can identify them as a pair of the two of them out together on pasture. And we'll get this plastic tag. We'll also get this metal tag, which says TVF 128, so that means that's its number that will be the rest of its life. So there'll be, that doesn't seem right, but hold on one sec. So we also, as technology, we have a computer right here that can tell us everything we need to know. No, you're fine, I'll go. So technically this calf number is supposed to be 2021 calves. 128 is there. Oh, okay. So I'm supposed to be 192. It's supposed to be the number I have. Do I have that one right here? 190.
So as you're looking, how much do these calves weigh once they are born?
So we're going to weigh this one right here in a second. They're roughly around 80 pounds. So.
And then how often does a single animal?
So, well, we're only
going
to put one tag in today because we don't have the other one, and we're not going to put a tag in that's the wrong number for the calf because that's not good for anyone. But we just ended up losing that exact number, but we'll probably find it a little bit later, and it'll still be in the crowd later today, so we can get that other tag put in. I'm missing the wrong number. So when they are first born, they're born at like 80 pounds. The first thing you have to do is you have to dip them in iodine, their navels, because that's one easy way to pass an infection off into the calf is through the old umbilical cord. So that's technically what your belly button is. So the calf has a belly button and it hangs down for a couple of days till it dries up and falls off. So in that, we have to put iodine on it to help to reduce infections. And then we also are going to put a tag in its ear so we can identify who it is. And so then we know who's a pair out on pasture. So we're going to come down, we're going to weigh it quick. You can follow me around. We're going to.
And this one was just born a few hours ago?
I was born this morning early. So we left it in here, so it's good to go on. So yeah, you can come show us. So right here, we're gonna watch as the calf comes on. It's gonna there's gonna be a red light right here. When it comes on, it's gonna prove that it's saying it's 60 pounds.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yes, it's about 60 pounds. Yeah, it's a little on the smaller side for what we normally do, but it says 60 pounds on that. So now we're gonna bring it out here. We're gonna do it in there, out here. Flip this one around. Yeah, we got it right here. You got it? Here, okay. So we're gonna bring this cute little guy out right here. You got it? Okay. Is it a boy or girl? Girl. So we got a cute little heifer calf here. Yep. So here's the umbilical. So the umbilical cord is already dried up massively, but we're still gonna take this, put it up in here. It doesn't hurt it at all. It just it keeps from an infection happening being out in the environment. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put an ear tag in its ear right here. So you sit here, you look, make sure you don't hit a vein or anything like that, and you find a spot about there. And then ready? And you just put an ear tag in just like that. And now, so now it will be 523 until it's old enough, and then we'll put its metal tag in, and when it gets weaned, its metal tag becomes its number. So it's a cute little heifer here. So it's within the first it's been alive probably since like 5 this morning, so it's doing good. It's up, excited, happy to be around. So we're gonna send it into this pen over here, be with mom again.
So you basically gave this calf an earring, and that's very important when we're thinking about the health.
That earring, until it's weaned, that will be its number that it is known as. It'll be known as 523's calf until weaning, and then it will have the metal tag that I was supposed to give it, but I couldn't find the right one. So we'll get it back in later, because you can't put a wrong tag in, because that will be its number for the rest of its life. It's by birth order. So the first calf born this year was 001 or 101. Was it? So it was the first for 20 or 21. Yeah. So here, the other thing, we can watch it here for a second. It's going to go right up to mom, and it's going to nurse, and it's going to be right there with mom. Mom's a very good mom. I've shown her at State Fair a couple times. She's a little excited because there's a lot of people around, but she's a very good mom. And the calf is going to try and go get a snack right for mom right there. Oh, almost had it. But it's a neat little thing to watch. It's to see how they grow and see how they all have a different personality with them too, a little bit, which is really cool to see. So
we have a great question from Mrs. Hold's class.
Yep.
You mentioned that you calve twice a year, so you breed your cows twice a year. Is that correct?
Yeah. No. So cows are only bred once. So we have 2 groups of cattle. So we have a fall calver group and we have a spring calver group. So a calf, after they're bred, yep. So now our little heifer there is taking a little bit of getting a snack break from mom. All right. So she's drinking some milk right there, and is getting all the nutrition she needs right from mom, especially at this stage of life. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you're fine.
So calves are, after we breed a cow, it takes 9 months for the calf. So same gestation length as a human. So we have half of our farm. So we have 100 cows set up to be calving in the spring, and 40 cows to calve in the fall. That's really good for our beef business, because our beef business, we take cows all year round, 6 of them up at a time to slaughter. And then, so every month we take 6 up every 3 weeks. So we need calves all year round. So when this helps with the growth period, because then we always have some at different stages that can help grow and keep up with our customer demand. So.
And how many? So Mrs. Hull's class wanted to know, they have 1 baby a year. How often, or 1 calf a year? How often, or how many times would you breed a single cow?
We've bred cows that are 11 years old and stuff still around here. So they'll have 11 calves. They can have twins. We used to have this year we haven't had any twins actually, but in the past years we've had crazy numbers of twins. So yeah, they can. We'll keep them around normally till they're 8 or 10 years old, probably is average lifespan. But we've had some that are older. We keep them around as long as we can. But then depends on how the heifer crop is. If we have a lot of good heifers, we'll take a couple of the older cows out, because the younger heifers will have better genetics than the older cows. Normally.
So I have 2 great questions on harvesting cows. And
Yep.
so it's kind of a twofer. So how old are they, and how much do they weigh when they are harvested, and how much protein can you get from one cow?
So we aim to slaughter around 14 to 18 months of age, somewhere in there, and around 12 to 1,200 pounds is what we aim for. With ours, we have a little bit smaller framed animals, but that's what works out perfect, especially with our business because of the halves and quarters direct to families. It's a 700 pound hanging carcass, right? So it's 700 pounds of meat after the animal is dressed, and it's about 325 a half a pound. Yeah. So we sell it for 300. So we sell it for $3.25 a pound, based on that hanging weight of 700 pounds roughly. So that's what we do for pricing wise and stuff like that. But for usable meat, so it's what, 100 pounds a half, 200 pounds a half, 200 pounds a half roughly. So you get two halves out of an animal, so you get 400 pounds out of that 700 pounds is actual protein that you can eat.
Well, awesome. So we don't have any other questions right now.
So the next thing that we'll do, if you still have time with us,
yeah,
so
we have about 8 minutes.
Data on that calf, right? So the number one thing, yep. So perfect. What we're gonna do here quick is we have to show that we have to come in here. So we have our heifer list here. So record keeping is very important on a beef operation. That's why we have this computer up here. And then 52, I did not have that number. So we're going to put that in later once we find that number. But if keeping all these records is very important because they're used to help chart your growth. They're used to show everything like that. If we give a shot to a cow, it gets put on a record and everything like that because you can't give a shot of certain stuff and then give it to and then send it right for meat the next day. You have to wait a withdrawal period on certain things. We very rarely have to deal with that because we normally really don't give shots very often on our farm other than your annual vaccinations, just like you would get as a kid and stuff like that for certain diseases and stuff like that. So we give a 10-way and a couple other things like that. But that's it's very important to keep records in this thing as an operation, especially of one of this size with so many cattle. So now I'll open up the floor for any other questions. I can talk about anything you'd like. So
yep. So
last couple minutes.
Having
feel free.
all that,
any question is a good question. So
yep. So having all that information is important also for the cow's health.
Yep. So we can look back and everything we do, we write down into that Google sheet, and we are able to pull it up on our phone out in the pasture, middle of nowhere, looking at a cow. We can pull our phone out and be able to look up the sheet and see when the cow calved, when if it had any treatments done to it or whatever. We can see all that stuff on our phones, even out in the pasture. So that's important, and it gives us access to it anywhere. And so record keeping is very important. So.
You talked a little bit about vaccines. So as protein starts to enter into our food chain as humans, do we pick up those vaccines, or is there a waiting time?
So yes, there's a waiting time. It's called a withhold period. So especially with our vet, any drug that we have or he administers, there's a withhold period written right on the label saying this many days for meat and this many days for milk, because he's a cattle vet, so he also does dairy as well. And it says it right on there saying 45-day withhold period. So that means you cannot send that animal to slaughter for 45 days. And if they do, the USDA randomly spot checks so at Cargill, for example, which is a very large packing plant in Pennsylvania, they spot check a lot of animals. And if they find any residue of any antibiotics, anything like that, the meat is discarded immediately. So in the meat that you are getting as a consumer, there is no antibiotics, nothing in the meat, because it will not pass through withhold, because there's withhold periods and there's checks to make sure that you followed withhold periods.
So it sounds like it's a very regulated, careful process.
It is very.
To keep us safe as well.
Keep consumers safe. We don't give a vaccine unless medically necessary. 100%. That's our rules on our farm. The cattle do very well with maintaining their own health out on pasture. On pasture, grass. It's very important for that. We're very happy with that situation.
So I have a great question. Do you get meat from a female or male cow or both?
So in our situation, we primarily, yes, we do steers mainly. So a steer is a castrated male. They grow a little bit better without some of sorry, they grow a little bit faster. Our bulls grow faster, but their meat is less tender. So we castrate them to choose to get the more tender meat. And on our farm, yes, we do also some females. We take the top females calves that we get and we keep them for replacement heifers, which will come into the herd to replace the older cows. So it's a complete cycle always. But the lower, so the heifers that aren't as good, and we also still have to fill our 100 animals a year to customers because we have customers who want the beef. Yes, we will also kill a couple of females as well.
So another great question from Mrs. Colassi's class. Do you harvest beef on your farm?
No, our meat goes 2 hours away to a federally inspected slaughter plant in Otsego, New York. We go up every 3 weeks. We bring 6 animals up alive and bring back 6 animals frozen in our freezer truck and bumper pull trailer. It is aged for 16 days when it's there to get a consistent quality product. We do everything in our power to make it consistent. So every animal gets hung the same amount of time, gets cut the same way, gets fed the exact same ration at home at the same time every day, trying to produce that consistent quality product. So we do not process any animals at home on the farm. We go all to a federally inspected slaughter plant.
So we have 2 last questions. The last question is one of our last questions is, what are your plans for the summer? We heard that you had some big plans.
So yes, for this summer, I will be heading out to South Dakota to be working on a 2,000 head feedlot, and they also have 400 pairs of Angus cattle as well. So I'm excited. I'll be leaving tomorrow night to head out towards South Dakota. So it'll be a fun, interesting adventure for 10 weeks, and I'm very excited to go learn new things and hopefully bring back some new knowledge back home. And I'm very excited. So it'll be the first summer not ever working at home, but I'm sad about that, but I'm also so excited to go. It's hard to describe. I'm really interested to see a different part of the country and everything like that as well. So
well, congratulations. It sounds like there's lots of opportunities to travel inside the agriculture sectors. So our final question is,
for sure,
what would any parting words that you would like to leave with our students and teachers about agriculture education? Maybe for some of those students that have not grown up on a farm or not engaged in agriculture, anything you would like to share with them?
Yeah, for sure. Agriculture has been a big part of my life. I am going to school for agriculture. I've grown up on a farm, as you can tell here. Definitely, it's do your research about what you want. There's all these different labels and all these different products that are out in the marketplace, but do your research to figure out which one is best fits for you. Like some people really like organic, some people like conventional, some people like this, but there's a lot of fact checking that needs to be done as well. There's a lot of myths that out there that aren't true, and that some people who are not involved with science are publishing articles like they are involved in science. So definitely do that. And also, I mean, definitely thank a farmer. It's a lot of hard work out there. I mean, we put in long hours, but we love what we do. And I love seeing the calf get up and go nurse. I love seeing the grass grow. I love seeing all that stuff like that. So definitely agriculture is a big expansive industry too, as well. And there's more jobs than just being a farmer. If you choose you want to be a farmer, go ahead, be a great farmer. I'll tell you that. But if you want to work in food science, like making a new flavor of Coke, for example, or something like that, that's a whole food science, but that's the part of agriculture. You can be a salesman for John Deere. You can do all these there's many opportunities more than just farming, and that agriculture is the largest industry in the world. So definitely don't knock it in some aspects. There's a lot of opportunities there.
As we are looking to end our virtual field trip and part ways with our students and with Patrick, if I'm looking as a student to get into agriculture, what might be my first step? What can I do as a student in school?
So definitely, depending on what school you're in, if there is a agricultural classroom or FFA program, I 100% encourage you to join that. you don't even have to be from an ag background to join FFA. I was a state officer for FFA a couple of years ago, and it was one of the best experiences I ever had. And I also love the organization. I love also just going to a farmer's market and talking with a farmer as well, is another way to get interested and learn more about agriculture. Farmers love to talk about what they do. They really do. It's their passion for them. You could definitely, I could talk for another 3 hours about this, but I know we have a limited time, but it's something. So definitely take your sources as best you can. Go talk to people. I'm a big fan of talking with people, networking with people. That's one of my favorite things to do. I love to sit down with somebody and have a conversation. So I encourage you to, if you have an FFA or 4-H program in your area, I encourage you to explore if you're interested in agriculture. I was a part of both of those organizations. I enjoyed my time very much. And I also would, if you go shopping at a farmer's market, talk to the farmer for a little bit about what they do. They love to tell you. So.
Well, thank you so much. Definitely thank your grandpa for joining us, and Ryan Gross, who's with the Beef Council, who's filming. We really appreciate your time and your whole family. If our students are in that area, make sure you stop by Thunderview Farm. Patrick, thank you. Best of luck this summer. Have a blast in the Dakota.
The other thing is, if you guys want, we are working to try and get better on Facebook. So we are posting a little bit more and more updates. We're trying to get better at it. So Thunderview Farms on Facebook, having a broad sense view of the farm on a video on our website of thunderviewfarms.com. That was from the National Environmental Stewardship Award that we won in 2018. So definitely feel free to check those two things out if you want to see or learn more, for sure. And we appreciate you, and thank you all for coming and tagging along. And I hope you guys had a great afternoon field trip.
Well, thank you definitely to all of our students and teachers for joining us, the Beef Council for partnering with us, and definitely the Combes family. Have a great summer and have a blast. Bye, y'all.